Thanks, Tom. Well, I'm here with Bill McClure, the Vice President of Strategic Initiatives with Siemens, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this green power phenomenon. And why don't you explain how Siemens kind of hooked up into that?
Okay, well, Siemens develops and delivers software for engineering. We develop 3D computer-aided design, computer-aided engineering, computer-aided manufacturing products. And we want to get students exposed to our products. We want them to learn how to use it at an early point. We first got involved with green power in the United Kingdom. Siemens is one of the title sponsors of the program there. It's a very large program, and in doing so, we decided we want to try to get that into the U.S. I contacted Mike Evans, asked him if he could help us out with it, if he was interested, and he jumped on it. Not only was he interested in working with us, but he was interested in competing, and that started the process for he put together a team, built a car, and competed very successfully in the UK.
Well, we've been talking to many students who, at maybe one point just wanted to be a mechanic or something that they've seen and been exposed to. And let's talk about this software and how it gives them exposure to even dreaming bigger than that.
Okay. Well, what we found is in engineering today, every engineer is exposed and used some type of 3D CAD software. And previously, we were very active, or we still are very active at the university level. But what we're finding now is the introduction to 3D computer-aided design has now moved into the high school and even the middle school. So what we want to do is work with high schools and middle schools to give them opportunity to experience our product Solid Edge and learn how to use it. The green power, though, goes beyond that. Not only do they get exposure to the software, but they get exposure to core engineering, team building, problem solving, project management. I think it's tremendous.
What are some of the stories that you're hearing or getting back from the field, so to speak, about how it's working in schools?
Well, what impressed me is that in working with Mike's team and listening to them going through the building car, and as an engineer myself, design doesn't always go the way it's supposed to. And probably the most important part, I believe, for an engineer is problem solving. Realizing there's a problem, figuring out a solution. And as the team went through the building this car, they ran into problems, not only technical problems, but supply chain problems. They had problems with getting their suppliers. They had to look at alternatives. All of those are experiences that are immensely invaluable for an engineer in industry.
What do you kind of reflect on, and you think about yourself as a young man in high school? Did you know that you wanted to go into engineering at that point in life?
Well, yeah, when I was in high school, my dad was an electrical engineer, so I knew I wanted to go into engineering. I was the classic kid that took everything apart and couldn't get it back together.
So when you compare what kids now are exposed to, I mean, not just in the form of books, but as we're saying, I mean, the computer age, just the software that's available, 3D animation, all types of things. I mean, when you think about that young man, do you think you could have been the next Von Braun, so to speak?
Well, yeah, the technology today and the progression is amazing. I mean, the kids, particularly in the STEM studies, are doing stuff that I did in college. I watched several of the presentations from the Green Power team, and these were students in high school. And if somebody hadn't have told me that, I would have thought that this was a corporate engineering presentation in industry. It was that good. So they're now doing things that were done in my day in college or even in real-world experience in engineering.
What does Siemens want to share with parents in terms of what you have to offer there? You talked about soft skills and some different things that are just invaluable to all students. What would you say to parents that are kind of just now finding out more about what we're doing here?
Well, obviously we're talking about engineering, we're talking about STEM, but the reality is a successful engineer has to work with other people. He has to take his concepts, he has to understand the requirements from other people, he's got to work with a team. Some cases he's managing that team, and then he's got to deliver that, and he's got to convince the client or whoever the recipient of that design is that it's going to work. So he's got to be able to develop those people skills, both in terms of working within his team, but also communicating to others outside that team. And this type of project work is really the best way for a student to get that experience as early as possible.
We were talking to students who also have gotten the international exposure. You're talking about moving beyond working with people in our own country to, the races that were taking place overseas. And what does Siemens hope to kind of move into as we talk about I call it the green power phenomenon, but this movement, what is Siemens looking forward to in the future?
Well, clearly engineering and industry is global. It's no longer isolated to any particular region. So we work with countries from all over the globe. I travel internationally on a regular basis. In terms of green power, what we're doing now is we're taking the Green Power Trust that was formed in the UK, working with them to expand that globally, not only in the US, but other countries throughout Europe and Asia Pacific.
Thanks so much, Bill. Tom, a lot of exciting things going on here. So I hope you see it's not just about building an engineer, but it's about developing a holistic student, a student that's ready to not just work in a little segment, a little pot of their own world, but being able to take their skills and contribute to the world globally. Back to you.